The Anth. Physiology. Anth are an obviously created race. Anth biology has nearly infinite variation in phenotypes, with the result resembling anthropomorphic versions of animals commonly found on Earth. Their DNA is approximately 90% similar to that of baseline humans, which is reflected in the general layout of their skeletal structure and internal organs. Despite this, they are different enough in physiology and genetics to qualify as a different species of intelligent life from humanity at large. Anthish biology allows for the various beneficial biological adaptations from the base animals to be incorporated into a bipedal framework. These adaptations range from the rather obvious fur, scales, tails, and facial structure, to more subtle things such as a magnetic sense or ultrasonic hearing. All Anth are technically omnivorous, though their diets generally still reflect the animal on which their appearance is based. Otters prefer seafood, canines have a preference for meat, rabbits prefer vegetables, etc. This often has more to do with their ethnic culture or traditions than any sort of biological requirement. History and culture. The Anth have a relatively short history compared to most other forms of biological intelligent life. Their fossil record abruptly began approximately 15,000 years ago, when the earliest Anthish skeletons have been found. The creation myths of the Anth are also relatively consistent with each other, reflecting their brief history. Commonly, these myths describe how they were originally created by celestial beings from stardust and the essence of the various animals they resemble. While the previously stated belief is somewhat poetic, it has its grounding in a degree of truth. It has been established that the Weaver civilization is the most likely culprit for the uplifting process the Anth were subjected to. Archaeological expeditions conducted on Anth during pre-spaceflight times found numerous artifacts similar to confirmed Weaver artifacts found in Centerspace. These findings cannot be confirmed for the foreseeable future due to the current political climate on the Anth homeworld, also called Anth. Modern Anthish history began in a climate of feudalism, with kingdoms vying with each other for territory and resources. Large, complicated alliances were set up, often by secret treaty. This created an intricate system that depended on many different kingdoms honoring it without knowing exactly what would happen if they behaved aggressively, indeed banking on such to maintain peace. The Pan-Anth War exposed just how fragile the system of secret treaties really was. What started as a local assassination escalated into a global, industrialized war in a few short weeks. It is similar to the First World War in Earth's history, in both causes and barbarity. The war went on for the better part of a decade, only finally ending when the Chimeric Alliance forced the Therian Empire to sign a humiliating peace treaty. In the following years, unrest continued to plague the Therian Empire, which soon found itself facing revolution. From the ashes of the old Therian kingdoms, a new political force arose in the Gestalt Federation. The Gestalt Federation gathered its strength, eventually restarting the conflict with the Chimeric Alliance via proxy wars. The resulting series of wars were known to the Gestalt as the Unification Campaigns, and to the Chimeric as the Aggressions. These smaller skirmish wars generally resulted in the Gestalt gaining territory incrementally as neighboring Chimeric kingdoms and republics fell before the emerging juggernaut. This process took quite some time, but in roughly 300 years, the Gestalt held the majority of land on the planet, leaving the Chimeric Alliance with only a single continent to themselves. Though the Chimeric Alliance's nations fought valiantly, in time their leaders realized that the Gestalt's goal of unifying their planet under one rule would happen with or without them. However, rather than surrendering or choosing to go out in a blaze of glory, they came up with an audacious plan to save their people. They would take what remained to them and escape to the stars. The Anthish exodus eventually began after much secret preparation, with many hibernating Chimeric Anth in colony ships spreading to likely candidate stars for habitable worlds, sometimes with Gestalt ships in pursuit. Whether by design or accident, some of their colony ships went through a portal to Centerspace. Several conspiracy theories relate how the former could have occurred considering the improbable event of encountering a Centerspace portal in the first place. The Chimeric Anth have since played a pivotal role in Centerspace, both in rebelling against the Ataxians and reconstructing after the war's end. However, their past is catching up with them as Gestalt forces find their way into Centerspace with the stated goal of bringing their lost kin back into the fold. This is something the Anth already in Centerspace find abhorrent, given the Gestalt's well-documented history of oppression.